I guess I'm just looking for insight or advice. I'd appreciate hearing stories similar to mine. I will be talking to my doctor this week regarding an baby unaliving. You can receive an baby unaliving up until 24 weeks in my province. This will be my third baby unaliving. Nobody knows the first two were baby unalivings. I said they were miscarriages. I couldn't hurt my mom and admit I aborted her grandchildren. But she has no idea how terrible my relationship is. Nobody knows about this pregnancy except for my fiancé. For starters, I absolutely hate myself for allowing myself to get pregnant yet again. It happened on a trip with alcohol involved. I had an appointment booked for an IUD to be inserted the week we returned home. I should have been more careful. I really want children, but not with this man. He's hurt me so many times, I couldn't possibly count all the times he has. Why am I still with him, you ask? Generational trauma? Low self-esteem? Many reasons, I guess. My relationship has never been good. He's very disrespectful and controlling. He's called me every name imaginable, used every verbal technique to tear me down emotionally in arguments. Got in a verbal, almost physical altercation with my family member when they stood up for me because he was screaming at me in public. The relationship has recently become unbearable. My body is changing from the pregnancy, and it's incredible to watch, but I can't even feel happy about it because of who the father is. I thought I wanted to keep this baby, and that's why I'm so far along in the pregnancy. If I knew how I feel now, I would have terminated the pregnancy right away to make it easier. But with the excitement of finding out I was pregnant, I was being blissfully ignorant and ignoring the reality of my relationship. I have many reasons to leave with many incidents over the past 10 years, but this recent one really made me realize I need to end this pregnancy and get out of this relationship. A few weeks ago, our dog was really sick, and he was absolutely livid with me for taking him to the vet because he didn't want to spend any more money on our dog. He isn't financially struggling at all. He has about $200,000 in the bank for reference. My dog was terribly sick. He vomited 30 times and was losing his ability to walk. I was panicking. I stayed up for 3 nights with our dog because he had to go outside to be sick every 10-15 minutes. I also had to bring him to the ER vet multiple times. I was exhausted and pregnant, and he never offered to watch the dog at night, so I could get some sleep. Our dog is 2 years old, and I love him with all my heart. I even told him I'll pay for the bills instead of us splitting the bills. He became very angry and controlling because I called the vet for advice. I was trying everything to avoid bringing him into the vet because he was so angry with me. He would yelp every time we tried to lift him. I told my fiancé to leave him in the living room, as I've done for the past 3 nights, since he's yelping when moved. He continued screaming at me that he wanted the dog in our bedroom. So he lifted our dog and he yelped. With me being pregnant and going on days without any sleep, I was so overstimulated and I screamed at him when I heard our dog yelp. He then raised his closed fist to my head as if he was going to punch me when I yelled. He said it was his instinct to raise his fist because I screamed close to his head. He's never actually threatened me physically in 10 years, but of course when he does, I'm pregnant. How sweet of him. He mistreats me when I'm pregnant. He can't believe how tired I am, and he calls me lazy, and he screams at me about how dirty the house is. I am typically a very clean person, and I still clean, but obviously at a slower pace these days. I am also a nurse, and my job and hours are exhausting. I'm also likely anemic right now, which isn't helping with the exhaustion. He knows all of this. We just got in an argument because his dad asked me to help move heavy boxes. His parents don't know I'm pregnant. He didn't even offer to get up and help, even knowing I'm 4 months pregnant. He just continued playing video games. When I brought this up to him, he said, I'm playing my violin and just picking fights with him. He said I'm a capable woman and didn't need his help. I am so guilty about having to get him baby unaliving, especially being this far along. But I just can't watch him treat my kids like this one day. I also can't have my kids watch me be treated like this. I'm also nervous to get him baby unaliving because I'll need at least 2 days to recover, and he's going to be so cruel and unsupportive. I'm scared it'll contribute to my depression post-abortion. He'll call me lazy, and he won't offer to help. I'm not prepared to do this alone again. Thank you if you got this far. Any advice or similar stories are appreciated. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. He is literally the statistic. Hurtful men get more hurtful when their partner is pregnant. This is when a woman's life is most at risk in an hurtful relationship, when she is pregnant, and when she is about to leave. This is a detailed article on how to leave him as safely as possible. Comment 2. I don't think you want his DNA in your life in any capacity for even a second longer than you are required to. Him or anything related to him. It will tie you to him forever if you do not do this. Some places will insert the intrauterine device, IUD, during a surgical baby unaliving. See if yours will. You need to be on birth control at this point. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around for this update. So, after everything I went through with the baby unaliving, it was tough, but I knew it was the right thing. I told my fiancé I was going to stay with a friend for a few days to recover, but really, I was just trying to avoid his cruelty. I didn't need that on top of everything else. But here's where things got really messy. My friend, the one I was staying with, she's been my rock through all this. She accidentally let it slip to my mom about the baby unaliving. My mom, who thought I'd had 2 miscarriages, was devastated. She came to see me crying, asking why I didn't trust her enough to tell her the truth. It broke my heart to see her like that. But it also made me realize how much I'd been carrying on my own. My mom and I had a long talk, and I finally opened up about how my fiancé had been treating me. She was furious, to say the least. She wanted to confront him, but I begged her not to. I didn't want any more drama. But moms have a way of taking matters into their own hands. A few days later, my fiancé showed up at my friend's place, out of his mind with anger. He'd found out my mom knew everything, and he blamed me for making him look bad. He started yelling, saying I was ruining his life, that I was the problem. My friend called the cops, and they arrived just in time to see him trying to force his way into the house. He was arrested for disturbing the peace and got a restraining order slapped on him. I felt a mix of relief and fear. Relief that he was finally being held accountable for his actions, and fear of what he might do next. But then, something unexpected happened. His sister reached out to me. She'd heard about the arrest and wanted to apologize for her brother's behavior. She told me about their childhood, how their dad had been just like him, and how she'd always feared he would turn out the same way. She offered to help me in any way she could, even if it was just to talk. I was touched by her kindness, but also wary. I didn't know if I could trust her, but I was tired of dealing with everything alone. So, I took a chance and met up with her. We talked for hours, and she shared stories of her own struggles with their family. It was like a weight had been lifted, knowing I wasn't alone in this. And then, the sweetest bit of revenge happened, without me even lifting a finger. My fiancé's sister decided to cut him off financially. She'd been helping him out, thinking she was supporting him through tough times. But after learning the truth, she was done. She told him he needed to grow up and take responsibility for his actions. He called me, begging for help, saying he didn't know how he was going to manage without his sister's support. But I was done. I told him it was over, that I was moving on with my life without him. I could hear the panic in his voice as he realized he was truly on his own. But I felt nothing but relief. I'm still picking up the pieces of my life, but I'm doing it on my terms now. I've got my mom and my friend by my side, and even his sister has become an unexpected ally. It's going to be a long road, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm heading in the right direction. Thanks for reading. My spouse denied me intimacy for years and cheated. So I served divorce papers and left them with nothing but regret. We have been married for 2 years. I want to have intimacy constantly, but she doesn't. We have a lot of arguments about it. I got to the point of asking her if she wanted an open marriage, because I can't keep not having intimacy. She said no and got angry and said cheating. We have intimacy maybe 1 time a month. But the longest period that we haven't had intimacy is 6 months, and I'm tired. I have asked her to go to therapy, which is free for us. She doesn't want to. I asked her if she is asexual or if she doesn't want to have intimacy with me, or if I'm the problem. To all of which she responded, "No, I have communicated with her." But her response is always, "I'm tired, I'm beat up, my head hurts, my tummy hurts, I need to sleep, I'm watching TV, etc." I'm frustrated, and to be honest, I started to feel resentful towards her. I was a virgin when I met her, 21 years old. I kissed people and touched, but not intimacy. So when we had intimacy, it woke a part of me. I'm not ugly. I have people that like me. Like when we go out and I have several guys and girls come talk to me. And I, of course, respect my wife and say I'm married. I understand that her job can be hard, but we went to Puerto Rico for our honeymoon, and guess what? We didn't have intimacy once. We were only taking care of her grandma. I was changing diapers and helping around, which I didn't mind because her grandma is a sweetheart. But it was my honeymoon. On our wedding night, guess what? No intimacy. Instead, we went to clean her mom's house, where the wedding was held. Even her mom told us to leave and have fun. Last time we went to a Post Malone concert, we rented a room in a hotel. We had an amazing night, but no intimacy. She even told me that I was too pushy, and I made her feel uncomfortable. It made me cry. I am writing this because tonight we were having fun. She was drunk and I was a little tipsy. I was trying to engage, and she said that I made her feel forced. I didn't touch her in her private areas. Well, I touched her butt, but it made me feel disgusted with myself when she said that. So I am tired and I don't want to force anything on her. That's not my intention. Isn't it fricked up to say that? Or is it just me? Am I being too much? I got on top and kissed her. Is that too much? I want a wife who is sexually attracted to me, or I want a divorce. I love her and she's amazing, but I can't keep walking on eggshells. Any advice? What should I do? I don't know if it is important, but I am feminine, and my wife is masculine. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. If there is no intimacy chemistry, the relationship is kind of doomed. I've stuck around for a long time with someone like that. It ultimately didn't work, for many reasons. When I moved on, I found someone where the intimacy is fire, and our tendencies and requirements are the same. We may have a few issues, but intimacy isn't one of them. Good intimacy definitely helps when dealing with the other issues. Good luck. Comment 2. Does not sound like there is a way forward for you too. I lived with that for too many years. My ex tore me down and made me feel like I was so mean for even wanting intimacy. 18 years later, and I now have a wife who matches my intimacy drive perfectly. And it's such an amazing feeling. We have been married for 4 years and can't keep our hands off each other. Time to go be yourself. You need more than a roommate. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around after my last post. Things have escalated since then, and it's been very eventful. So, after that night when she called me pushy, things got icy at home. We barely spoke for days, and when we did, it was like walking on thin ice. I tried to shake it off, focus on work, but it was eating me up inside. Then, out of nowhere, she drops a bomb on me. She's pregnant. I was floored. We hadn't been intimate in so long. How could this be? Turns out, she'd been seeing someone else. My world shattered, and I couldn't believe it. All those times she turned me down, said she was tired or not feeling well, she was lying. She was with him. I felt like a fool, a complete and utter fool. The trust was gone, just like that. I confronted her, and it was like a scene straight out of a soap opera. She tried to deny it at first, but the evidence was there. She finally admitted it, said it was a mistake, that she didn't mean for it to happen. But how do you accidentally sleep with someone else? I couldn't wrap my head around it. The aftermath was messy. Her family got involved, and it was a whole thing. Her mom tried to mediate, but what was there to mediate? The betrayal was too deep. I couldn't even look at her without feeling a mix of rage and heartbreak. And then, as if things couldn't get any worse, the other guy shows up. He wants to be involved with the baby. Can you believe that? The audacity. It was like a slap in the face. I didn't sign up for this. A love triangle and a baby that wasn't mine. I had to do something. I couldn't live like this. So I made a decision. I cut her off. I told her I wanted a divorce. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but I couldn't stay in a marriage that was built on lies. I couldn't be the third wheel in my own relationship. She was shocked, didn't think I'd actually go through with it. But I was done. I moved out, got myself a small apartment. It's not much, but it's a fresh start. I'm still trying to process everything, but at least now I can start to heal. Thanks for reading, it means a lot. My boyfriend proposes with the wrong ring after 10 years and a secret affair. So I replace him with someone who listens and respects my wishes. I've been with my boyfriend, now fiancé, for a decade, and in that time we've heavily discussed things like marriage. But relevant to the post, we have talked a lot about what sort of proposal I wanted and what sort of ring I wanted. The last time we spoke about it was a month ago. I'm not bothered about the price of the ring or having real gemstones diamonds, but I really like blue and green gems. I absolutely adore kite and marquise cuts, as they are a bit different. And white gold silver suits me a lot more than gold. The ring he got was a yellow gem, round and yellow gold. He definitely knew what I wanted as he told me to tell him, so he could write down a list of what sort of thing I wanted when I saw him make the list. With the proposal, I said, I don't want anything cheesy like on Valentine's Day. Not really a fan of doing it during a dinner at a restaurant. And I would love for it to be somewhere out and about on an adventure, since the outdoors is a huge thing for me. Even if it was during one of our forest walks, it would have been perfect. He did it at 12 a.m. when he came home from work, and I was on the PC with my headphones on. He messaged me to turn around, and he was down on one knee, said, "Will you marry me?" Followed by, "Well, I thought it was about time I got this out of the way." Afterwards, he just went back to scrolling on his phone. I feel so ungrateful, but I honestly feel like I haven't been listened to at all, and it was just an underwhelming, weirdly timed thing that just didn't feel romantic or special at all. I didn't ever expect a huge gesture, but I just wanted this, hopefully once-in-a-lifetime thing, to be something memorable. I don't even mind that he did something different and it was at home, but even dimming the lights, lighting candles, maybe getting flowers, or printing some pictures of us around the room would have been absolutely lovely. It's just made me feel sad, like I'm not worthy enough to put an ounce of effort in. I do love him so much, and we generally have a really good relationship, and I don't want to leave him. And I still said yes, so I'm not going to dump him or anything. We don't really have many problems apart from the usual couple bickering of what to have for dinner. I don't know if I should get over my feelings on my own or talk to him about how I feel. I also don't know if my feelings are valid or if I'm expecting too much. It's probably me being too fussy of an individual. But I suppose I just wanted something memorable for this, hopefully once-in-a-lifetime moment. So, edit. Update is here. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Absolutely tell him how you feel. Let him know the ring was not what you wanted, and neither was the proposal. Ask him if he really wants to be engaged, or if he is just doing it because he thinks he needs to, or because he felt pressured. Let him know the way he went about it, and the lack of effort makes you concerned that he doesn't actually want this. Comment 2. Don't sign up for a lifetime of disappointment. He should have put the effort in. Huge red flag. Just because you spent 10 years doesn't mean you need to spend 10 more. This isn't the only time he's lacked effort in planning, huh? Now, for the update. Thanks for all your comments on my last post. Well, things took a turn. Remember how I said the proposal felt off? Turns out, my gut was right. My fiancé's ex came out of the woodwork, and it's been a mess. She contacted me claiming they've been seeing each other behind my back. I didn't want to believe it, but she had texts, photos, the works. I confronted him, and after a lot of denials, he finally admitted it. Said it was a mistake, that he was confused, and he chose me. But can you really choose someone after lying to their face? I was ready to leave, but then I found out I was pregnant. Talk about timing, right? I told him. And suddenly he's Mr. Perfect, doing all the right things. It's like he flipped a switch. He's attentive, caring, and he even replaced the ring with one that's exactly my style. But it feels like a Band-Aid over a bullet hole. We started counseling, trying to work through the betrayal. It's tough. I see him trying, but there's this nagging feeling that I'm just convenient, especially now with the baby on the way. And then, as if things weren't complicated enough, his ex isn't backing down. She's been spreading rumors, trying to turn our friends against us. It's like high school all over again. Amidst all this, my best friend, who's been my rock, started acting weird. She's been distant, and I found out why. She knew about the affair, didn't tell me because she didn't want to be the bearer of bad news. I felt so betrayed. It's like I can't trust anyone anymore. So now I'm trying to navigate this pregnancy, a shaky relationship, and a friend I'm not sure I can forgive. It's a lot. I'm just taking it one day at a time, hoping things will get better. Thanks for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.